This video is on the product rule, exponential rule. So we're going to take a look at two different examples. On the first one, in the product rule, what it says is that whenever we have a power of some number or variable multiplied to another number or variable of the same kind with a different power, that we simply just add the powers together. And so here's an example. And in this example, I used a variable. So the variable is x. And what we have is, we have x to the third power times x to the eighth power. According to the product rule, all we need to do is add these two exponential powers. So for instance, I'm going to put these together by multiplying them. And when I multiply these two out, what we really have is x to the third power plus the eighth power. Now this only works because the base is the same. And remember, the base is the actual exponent or number that's in front of the power. So now x to the third times x to the eighth is simply x to the third plus 8. And if we were to finalize that process, it would be then x to the 11th power. And that would be our final answer. So let me give you one more example of the product rule. So say we had one that was a little bit more complicated. For instance, if we had x squared times y, close parenthesis, and then we have x cubed times y to the fourth power. This problem is a little bit more complicated. I'm going to draw a line real quick. So what we would do, remember, we're still going to do the same process. Now just because we have it in parentheses, it just means that everything inside of here is being multiplied to everything inside of here. And what I like to do when I have one like this and it has higher powers is I just connect the things that are alike. For instance, I have x squared times x cubed. Notice I drew a line to connect those. And I'm going to go ahead and take care of those first, and I'm going to cross them out. I like crossing them out to make sure I don't forget that I already took care of it. So that's x to the second power plus the third power, because I took this power of 2 and just added it to this power of 3. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take these other two, the y's, and put those together. So I have y. Now notice this y is by itself, right? So there's always an implied power of 1 if we have some number here, so, or some letter, some variable. So this is going to be y times, let's see, we have to the power of 1, and it's times y to the power of 4, so plus the power of 4. So now that we've got this written out, this is an equivalent statement. In other words, if it was that, it's equal to this. And we can refine it more, right? Because we know how to do 2 plus 3, so we can say x to the 2 plus third power gives me x to the fifth power. And then we could say that's multiplied times y to the 1 plus 4 power, which gives me the fifth power. And that is my final answer. So there's two examples of the product rule. And that's all you do. It's that simple.